Hello and welcome back to Pints with Pals. I'm Jason, your host, and today I'm joined with Jeremy and Mike as usual.
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
It's going great. How
Awesome,
about
awesome.
it's been a minute, I feel.
Ooh,
I know actually.
Yeah,
it's been a very long minute.
For us, but I believe that there are enough of these in queue that there has been no interruption for our frequent viewers.
correct.
Yeah, so what's been going on? What are we doing today? What's happening? Summer now, it's hot out.
Yeah, it went from spring to summer very quickly. That's for sure. Yeah,
Doing German pills is what we're doing tonight.
German pills.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm not really sure if I'm super familiar with this. Um, I think that I by default get something like this if I go to a place that has like beer on tap that I'm not 100% familiar with. I'll ask for the like lighter beer, and I think I get these. But I'm not familiar with this one specifically. I don't even know how to say the name of it, honestly.
I think Bitburger is probably about the best. I think you're saying it right earlier. Don't know any
Premium
other way to say
pills.
it. Yeah,
Bitburger.
so it should be, a dry, pale lager for the most part, right? Crisp, clean, like a Pilsner should be. Light in color.
Have we not done a pilsner?
Don't believe so. I think we've done.
That's surprising. Sorry, just for how popular pilsners are.
Right. Yeah, we had a lot of other stuff. Like it depends on like how loose your definition is of like what they are, because I feel like lagers kind of fall into that pilsner category in some places.
No, I mean you're not wrong. I mean, because it's bottom fermented, so
right.
I mean that's lagering in a nutshell. It boils down to the usually the grain bill. So if they use all Pilsner malt, it's going to be Pilsner. That's
I was I was surprised by so when I looked it up, just looked up German pilsners, I was surprised at where the bitterness units fell. They're kind of like right in the middle. I wasn't expecting it to have very much bitter IBUs. It says between 25 and 50% bitterness. Not 50%, but 50 IBUs.
The IBU, yeah.
Right. Which was surprising to me when I was looking it up. So I'm kind of nervous about that because I don't really love IBUs, but it's whatever.
Well, I think because the Pilsner malt is just can be very sweet and malty. You have to balance that out. For the most part. Yeah, but I'm gonna get into this because I'm awfully thirsty.
Yeah, I've been excited.
I just had to take a sip of water. I was like, talking about this is making me so thirsty. We all got cans today because
you can get a Pilsner glass.
I was trying to find the bottles, but ooh.
Got a nice head.
Golden. Yeah, golden.
Mine looks red.
As always.
It doesn't look red. That doesn't look red to me. It probably looks red to you guys, especially if I hold it right here. Very, very, very clean. The head on it.
Yeah, crystal clear.
It's really good.
See myself through it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wait a little bit on mine.
Smells good.
It does smell good.
It's a little too much.
It's got a little of
the champagne champagne of
I know, right?
It almost has a little bit of a citrusy smell to it.
Yeah.
It must be that sweetness kind of pushing through. It doesn't smell. It doesn't smell hoppy at all, or there's no IBU or IPA-ness. So did you guys do anything fun to recap the month hiatus essentially that we had?
Oh, wow.
Did you have any highlights from that month?
The highlights. There you go. I think highlights are perfect. So I was on vacation with Michigan. So we stayed in Frankenmuth, which is a very German style town
with
a Bavarian flair. I did try the Frankenmuth brewery. They had some beers outside that were really cheap. I just couldn't bring any back with me. So like they had a case or 24 pack for about $25. I just didn't have any room for it. But if I want to buy a 6-pack, the 6-pack was almost like $12. So I was like, well, to save money, you better buy the 24-pack. I actually drove all the way up to a certain spot in Michigan just to get a picture. That was kind of interesting, but that's really about it, I guess, in a nutshell.
A picture or a pitcher?
Just a
Like a lot
picture.
of beer? Or
No, just a picture of a sign.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Jason, did you do anything fun?
Oh, I did some stuff with you. We went to Chicago, right? That's been since.
I forgot that
Yeah.
was in between there. I've
Yeah,
done quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took
Mike has been busy.
yeah, we took my wife and I went to France and Italy and
I'm not his wife, so I didn't go with him to Italy.
No, we went to Dark Lord Day, which was a riot. It was a little too warm to drink that heavy beer. Like the average beer, I say at Dark Lord Day, well, at least the ones we were doing were probably like 15 to 17% or something. It was like trying to drink red wine in the summertime. I got very, very burned.
Oh yeah, I'm still probably appealing here.
Right, which actually kind of worked out for me because then I was in Paris and we walked like between Paris and Italy, I walked 105 miles in 2 weeks, which is a considerable amount of walking for me because I don't do it very often, as you can see, or as the people can see that are watching this, I guess. I'm not the most athletic build as you would imagine. But yeah, there was a bunch of good, like the best food I've ever had in my entire life, I think. And I can't wait to go back. I didn't know if I was going to like it, and I loved it. But the beer there was not the best beer I've ever had. They're not known for their beer, obviously. France and Italy are more of a wine country kind of thing, but
right.
They did.
So
have
as you were,
and stuff.
Yeah, so as you were preparing for your trip, I was actually curious what you were going to drink or enjoy. Just because, yeah, the beer is different over the pond, as people like to say.
This is very familiar. Like this is kind of where a lot of their beers kind of fell. This has a little bit more flavor than theirs. It like the Peroni or something was the Italian beer that they had there was very much exactly like this, but with less flavor. So it wasn't the best. But we did have one. We went to Cortana. I want to say Cortona. No, it's Cortona. Cortana is the the like helper in Windows.
Microsoft.
Yeah. So I kept saying the wrong thing the whole time I was there. But we went into like, because we had a dinner reservation at like, they don't eat until like way late. Like 7:30 is like when stuff opens for dinner. Like, and if you go there, you're a tourist. And I was like, okay. So we had a reservation for like 8 o'clock, 8:30 maybe. So we're just like killing time. And then we went into like this, it was like a bar / like Jimmy John's essentially, but like a non-chained version. It was just like a guy with like a bunch of like cured meat and cheese in front of him. He barely spoke English. He spoke enough English to get by, but like I went in there and like was like, hey, I'm looking for like a beer, and he's like, oh, you try this, and he like just kept handing me stuff, and then I found like a red, like a red beer, and I don't have any idea what it was because he like whatever he said, I'm just like, okay, it tastes delicious. I'll have one of those. We were staying at a villa at the time, but then like on our way back through there to get picked up by our car, he, like we said, we'll come back and just like, I'm like, can I get some to go? Because we're staying at a villa and we have no way of getting out to a grocery store or whatever. And he was like, he had this like beer cooler full of stuff and he just started pulling stuff out and put it in a bag. And like, he's like, this one's like $2.50. Is that okay? And I'm like, yes, it's fine. And it was like, he gave us like 5 or 6 beers for like, I think it was like $20. And I was like, cool. So
that might be a good deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably getting ripped off somehow.
No, he felt
Probably
it was
like stuff he's trying to get rid of.
Yeah, right.
Probably.
This stuff don't sell. It's been sitting there forever. It's got to go.
Yeah, most of them were good. And it was funny to see some like really crazy looking bottles like he would have in, or not, like cans of like crazy logos and stuff. Like I feel like it's more of an American thing.
Right, yep.
That's kind of bleeding into their stuff. So that was fun. I had a blast.
you sent a bunch of pictures, and I was very interested in some of the beers based on the logos or the art that was on there. I thought that it was unique to see that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one with the gnomes on them. I've had that one before. Their cherry one's better than the yellow one that you had.
Yeah, we had the cherry one also. They were both delicious. That was in France. I had those in Paris.
Mhm.
But I would like, because I think you can. I know you can get them from here. I've seen them at Total Wine, so that'd be a fun one to try.
So yeah, speaking of imports or whatever, there's a place I think it's outside of Cleveland, which will go out of their way to find you whatever beer you want. And I went in there and said, "Hey, do you have this beer?" They're like, "No, but we can get it for you." I'm like, "Really? Like it's from like a Balkan state, like like super far away. Like how are you gonna get this?" And like they took my information, and like 2 months later they called me like, "Hey, your beer's here." I'm like, "Who is this?" Like, yeah, I was amazed that like that some of that stuff that's harder to find, like you actually can get it in the States.
Come here, little boy. We have candy for you.
Yeah, we have beer. I'm like, I'm in. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so Chicago, we went to Dark Lord Day, which is it's their Three Floyds barrel aged beer. There's probably more to it than that.
It's like it's a metal concert, which I
Yep.
didn't see any of because the metal concert didn't start until like 7, and like we were there since like noon or something ridiculous.
Right. Yep. But in that was an experience in itself. But we were there for the weekend, so for several or a couple of days. We were up in Chicago. We went to Peace Brewery, which was, I mean, that was the first place we went to, and that was a random find on
It was the
our
only place that was open before noon.
right,
Yeah.
trying to find a place to get lunch on a Thursday, and that was fantastic. Beers were great. We had a Helles and I think I had it might have been a Pilsner. I don't actually remember now.
I think it was.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, they were delicious beers, and they were the most awarded Chicago brewery. From there, we went to Goose Island. Where else did we go?
Revolution.
Revolution, Hailstorm. Didn't make it to
Sound.
microphone.
Soundcrawler.
Soundgarden. Yep, Soundcrawler. Yes.
Total or not Total Wine.
Open Bottle.
Open Bottle. That's a very unique place. I don't know how one of our buddies found it originally, but it's just basically like a little tiny store. That's kind of sounds like what your guys would do. Like if they can get it, they'll try and get it. But I feel like they specialize in the barrel aged stuff for the most part, or just like rare, harder to find things, and like keep it all like there. They'll get you kegs of stuff, or they actually have stuff on tap too that you can like, and anything there, I think they'll let you open basically.
Yep.
Which is weird.
I would love to open a place like that in Michigan, but their alcohol laws don't allow it.
Right.
And I think you could probably do it in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh allows, or at least Pennsylvania allows, bring your own beer. So I feel like you could do that here, where you could have a bottle shop that's sells cans, and you can just take it to the counter, and they probably have to open it or something. There's probably some like rule there that they have to open it. But
Right. There's a place in Greer, South Carolina, so not too far from my son's house, that it's a beer store. Not really big. It's probably about big as your house, Jason. And so as you go in through like the front door, they tell you right off the bat, like you can buy what you want, but if you want to drink in the store, it's like an extra quarter or 50 cents or whatever. And so that's what, and a lot of people will do that because they don't necessarily want to take a 6-pack home with them, so they just sit there and they'll just drink. And there's quite a few people in there. They have a lot of tastings too, like especially in the summer months. They have a lot of like they'll open like 30, 40 bottles, and you sit there, you can just try them all. And they're really good stuff. So I definitely want to go back there because I found some really good bargains. That's where I found that Goose Island, Bourbon County.
Have you had that yet? Did you drink that one?
Well, I'm gonna wait till this actually more winter months.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's a fall thing now. So
yeah.
So while we were trying to do this, we were trying to all meet up in Michigan, or at least meet up for like a few seconds. But because of me immediately going like so. Jason and I just got back from Chicago the same day that Jeremy was driving through Michigan, so it was like a big game of miss. But we have between the beers that Jeremy found, that Jason found, and that I found, we have like probably like it's gotta be close to 20 beers that we can like keep going with this. But a lot of the ones that I had were all barrel aged, so it's gonna be like a if it's cold out or if we're I don't know. I don't like I don't like drinking the barrel aged stuff this late in the year. This is the kind of stuff that I would rather have. Something super light
I mean,
and
I
refreshing.
can as long as my house is cool.
Right.
If the
Well,
wife turns off the air, then it's hot in here. I don't want nothing.
Yeah, it's rather
A
warm
76?
in my
Mine's
room right
68.
now. Mine's 76 for the listeners. It's way too warm in here for that kind of stuff. But this kind of stuff is refreshing. I guess to get back to this beer, I've been sipping it while we've been talking, and it's definitely like it hits like the back of my throat. Like the coat's like the back part of my tongue, the same way a lot of these do, and that's I think the bitterness of it, but it doesn't taste grapefruity. So IBUs without grapefruit isn't necessarily as bad for me. Just an
Right.
observation.
Actually, I'm not even sure what kind of hops they use because I don't think they released
Does it
that
say?
information. Because if they did, I definitely would have looked that up.
Did you guys look at their website? Their website is like
No.
they have like 5 guarantees. They talked about like I was reading through like the water. I don't know if you had this covered in your stuff, but like they had like a water guarantee where they pull it out of like 1,600 feet below the surface and volcanic blah blah blah. Like it automatically filters it and adds the right nutrients and stuff, and it was kind of neat.
Oh, it is. They have pretty neat little histories. I didn't copy all of it. I copied like some of it and just threw it in there. Just some interesting facts. Yeah. So like around the end of World War, the Second World War, like their whole brewery was like destroyed in it. So I forgot. I didn't write down like how long it took for them um, to rebuild it, but after they got it rebuilt, I mean, they went right back into business, and like the first batch they made was like 55,000 hectoliters, whatever how big that is. It's a lot of beer. I know that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And being around for since 1817, so they already have like 200 plus years of experience, and I think they've only changed hands once, I think. And then and another interesting thing I found was like back in 2018 they did a collaboration with us, Sierra Nevada, which didn't really say what they made. It was just a random fact they threw out there. Like, oh yeah, it's still kind of cool though, like a U.S. based beer, which is actually just over the mountain from where I live, not too far away, about 45, 50 minutes away from me.
Did you were you able to find out what they did, what specifically they did, other than
No,
just a
I didn't
collaboration?
say. No, just
Because I'm pretty sure,
collaboration.
well, 2019 might be. I was like, because some of that stuff might still exist. They don't have much like this. They have this beer. They have a no alcohol version of this beer, and then they have a Radler, which is like a lemonade or beer and lemonade.
It's a very low beer mixed with soda for the most part, but yeah, or juice.
My wife got one of those, not realizing that. And then she looked at the thing because we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get a beer, get a little buzz on it." It was like 0.4%. She's like, she just stopped drinking it immediately and just ordered something different.
It's delicious on the beach when you don't want to get too sloshed and you just want to like relax. They're great. I forget what summer it was. I think it was 2018 maybe. The Coors Light had a Radler that was delicious, or Coors had a Radler that was delicious, and they removed it or got rid of it. It was like all my friends loved it, like easy drinking, just summer beer. And
yeah, I don't know why. It seems like it would be like, well, I feel like they came out with the shandies, and then maybe we'll do that again. I don't know if you can get Leinenkugels where you guys are, but that summer shandy, like everybody drinks that, and I liked it like the first time, and then once somebody said what it tasted like, I could never drink it again.
Don't tell me what it tastes like.
Right.
I used to love the was it lemon? Was that the first one that Leinenkugel made?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
And then
that
one I loved, and then I think I drank too much of it one time, and I hated it after that. But since they've had like the orange one is supposed to be very good.
I've not had that
I've
one.
seen it. I've not had it yet.
Well, we have
Yeah.
a bunch of the. So that was one of the things we got the flavor pack of, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do any of them. Like we got one that had like there were four. I think there were four different flavors. One was grapefruit, one was orange, one was lemon. I think the other one was lime potentially. I think the lime one I think we drank, and then the rest of them were just like sitting up in our thing, and I think I eventually just threw them out because they were like from 2019. I'm like, yeah, this can't be any good.
So I did a quick search. It looks like they only use one hop. They use
Wow.
Hallertau hops, and it's a German noble hop, so which would give you like a fruit, the spice, to like a flowery kind of flavor. That's why you don't have any of that piney stuff, because like that's gonna be from like your Citra and hops like that. But they also said, like outside of the can that I was reading you were talking about earlier, they also use hop extract, which is pretty interesting. So I don't know if they're using the hop oil, which I assume that's probably what that is. I always heard that's kind of hard to get into the beer itself because it just likes to sit on, at least from a homebrewer's point of view, like it just likes to sit there. You usually have to use some type of like whirlpool or some type of recirculation to get that extract to get into the beer itself to get those flavors in there.
Did you see what the ABV on this was? Because it says it's supposed to be somewhere in between. Like a German Pilsner should be between, and it's a very small number, between 4.6 and 5.3.
Don't on my notes.
4.7 is what I saw.
Have it. Very well, it could be.
Yeah, I could. I was looking on the web page. I don't know if it changes. But the funny thing is they use the percent sign, not the percent sign. They use the
4.8
degree sign in like other countries. So like he kept saying it's like 14 or not 14. He was saying like it was 7 degrees, but I didn't understand what that was until like after I got it home, and I was like, oh, these beers are all really high in alcohol. It's like, because they weren't saying like percent alcohol, they were saying degree alcohol. And I was like, that's a really weird thing. Like they use commas instead of decimal points. Like, I don't understand this backwards countries.
They write their dates wrong, backwards.
Right? Yeah, that's really confusing when it's like early in.
Not really
like
backwards,
June.
you're just jumbled up, right? Isn't it like.
No, they do the day first.
Month, year.
Day, month, year, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. Smallest to largest. Meanwhile, we do. It is weird. We do month, day, year. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The right way would be year, month, day. Because then it's in order coming from computer scientists. That's the way it's supposed to be done.
Well, I don't know. Then we could use like epoch time and really fuck everyone up.
Well.
January 1st, 1970. You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to get, computer science nerdy, you can definitely use that shit. But yeah, I guess we should actually kind of at least talk about the beer just a tad more. We really haven't, honestly.
I do like their. It's not necessarily. Maybe it's a slogan or a catchphrase. The Bitte ein Bit, which means please a bit. So I'm guessing asking for another one. That's interesting. In my limited German knowledge here.
I have no German knowledge.
Mithalter und, so that whatever mit means, probably names, and Bitburger, Bitburger.
The can is all in. That was like one of the hardest things for me. And I was like, oh, I'll look at like what this can says, and I'm like, oh, yep, nope, it's in Italian.
Well, yeah, but the nice thing is with your phones, with Google Translate, you can just like take a picture or hover over, and it like live translates it. That's I didn't do that with this, but
I don't think I have much German on mine, honestly.
It says it underneath the logo. It says the thing that he was talking about. The rest of it's all in English. Yeah. Well, it's in like 5 different languages, actually. Yeah, it even goes to Cerveza. Oh, it's 4.8. Yeah. It's like beer, Cerveza. So, Cervega. Sorry.
Yeah, so what do we know about this beer?
Besides it's been around for a while, that's about all I know. I know it's so I happened to see it, or saw it. I saw it at Libation Stations. I was like, oh, I like Pilsner, so I'm going to grab this. And I feel like I've seen it even at grocery stores on there. It's like, I knew you guys should be able to find it.
I found it in a grocery store.
Yeah, so which is great.
I know that they brewed like a million barrels or whatever, 2.7 million barrels maybe. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a lot. And then I was like, oh, how many Bud Light barrels do they brew? And it's astronomically more. So I'm surprised that it's the most popular. This is the most popular beer in Germany. They say it's like 24% of the sales or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, okay, United States, whatever, the people love their Bud Light, but
Used to.
that's a well,
Yes,
yeah,
they
used
used
to.
to.
Yeah, but that's a lot. That's a huge difference, and
Right.
I was just surprised. I thought it'd be
Yeah.
higher, but I guess Americans don't drink this, perhaps, and maybe Bud Light is
Well,
sold elsewhere. I don't know.
right.
Maybe it's only Germany that this is the number one beer, and it's not super popular elsewhere.
Well, it's probably really cheap there too. So it's probably like their bottom, like whatever, like a Bud Light of their. Well, no, because this place is that's all they do. I don't know. I like it. I think it's a good.
I think it's very good. I was shocked at how cheap it was here. It's an import beer, and it was cheap for me to buy.
Well, so the United States is roughly 4 times larger than
Germany,
population-wise, from Germany. So I mean, I guess that would definitely weighs into.
Yeah, it's really hard to do percentages like that when you have to consider like the amount of people differences. Like specifically for me, like it was really weird to. I'm going to bring up Europe for probably the next 20 episodes, but to go to those places and to take a train, which was like 4 hours or 6 hours or something like that, which is basically like the train to go to Chicago from here, is like 5.5 hours. And I went to another country that spoke a totally different language, and it was just like very confusing to me, but awesome at the same time. I wish we had public transportation at all. Michigan's like every household needs 3 cars mentality that they pushed out all of that stuff. I feel like it's very corporatized.
Well, they sold that as freedom, right? Like, this is yours, this is your freedom, you're the king of the road, all the kind of crazy shit that was put on us back in the 80s and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, the public transportation we do have in the United States sucks, right? Yep. There's not well maintained, it's not clean, they just...
they call the one in Detroit the people mugger instead of the people mover.
Yeah. So, I mean...
That doesn't even... It's terrible at moving people. Like, it's not even...
It goes in like a circle and know where you want to go.
20 people can get on it, and no one ever uses it. You have to... I don't think you anymore, but you used to have like the special coins, which were a pain to like get. I don't know.
Right. So I think the cleanest one I've been to is DC. Like, the metro itself is clean. The metro trains are cleanish, right? Like, you can't... You may have people on there that may smell or be dirty or whatever, but I feel like they do a really good job of trying to keep that clean, because what it is the nation's capital, so that definitely does help. But like other ones I've been to, they're just gross.
Boston's were really nice. I think Boston's similar to DC for whatever reason, but Boston's is newer, maybe. New York's, from what I understand, is terrible. In Chicago, I never got a chance to use while I was there, but right. I wish we had better transport. Well, not even like that's like intra-city transportation. I want like, give me, light rails in the city, and give me high-speed rails. And
and the bad thing is the few that we can take are just so expensive. Like, there's one that goes from like, I think it leaves out of Boston area or Massachusetts and takes you all the way over to like Oregon or something like that. I think that'd be a great train ride, because you'll see stuff that you'll never see. Right? There's no roads, but the price of that is just outrageous.
But also, really that's like a 48-hour trip.
Yeah.
It's not fast. Like that's
no, it's like a week, I think, across the nation or something like that. It's pretty long.
Right.
Which is fine with me.
For the ones in Paris that were like 200 miles an hour, and I'm like, oh, or whatever, 100 or it was like 300 kilometers per hour. I don't know. They use a funky, weird metrics.
That's what a calculator's for. Or that calculator for. I don't know that stuff either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the beer that we got is pretty good overall.
No, it's good.
I'm glad
I have more than...
what it should be. I think one interesting fact that some people may enjoy, if I forget about it, is this is not native to Germany. This is like a Czechoslovakian style,
Mm.
right? It was a Czech Pilsner, and the Germans just kind of took it. They kind of made it their own. But every site I've been to every company site I've been to that has a Pilsner, they always kind of talk about the Czech Republic or whatever it was called, or Czechoslovakia, to being like the influence of the style, so which I thought was pretty cool.
There's is it? It's like COZEL. It's a Czech style beer that I've always wanted to try. I think you can find it in the States, something like that.
Oh,
But
you know that one.
I have not heard of it. But I hadn't been looking for beers until, I don't know, about
right,
3 months ago.
yeah, I was. I definitely have been. Since we've been doing this, I've been trying. I'm an IPA guy. That's what I'd always say, and I've been opening up and trying. It's definitely. I love Helles. Like, never would have had
Yeah,
those.
I
Those are
love a Helles.
delicious. Like,
Now I see them all
Sure.
the time, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. I'm
yeah,
going to try that.
yeah. And yeah, like we were at it in Chicago. I wasn't trying what I usually would, and even when we were at the event itself. It's like, well, I don't really. It's 90 degrees out. I don't really want a 15% pour of this barrel aged stuff that like I just want something for the heat. Just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the biggest difference between a Pilsner and a Helles is that Pilsner to me is more bitter,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's a little more crisper than a Helles. A Helles has more like maltiness to it, so it has a nice little like kind of sweet
Yeah.
on the front end. But it's still just to me, it's still crisp. But I feel like these are definitely have more of a snap to it. I don't know, snap, but
No,
crispness,
yeah, it's it's
crispness.
definitely, I definitely can agree with you. I think that that's a very good description of the difference between the two. I think I
Yeah.
prefer a Helles over the Pilsner.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes, ditto.
but I would, if I couldn't choose and there was a Pilsner, I would take a Pilsner. Just
Yeah.
as like in the summer, like if I'm trying to find something to drink. Did you
Mm-hmm.
have a home brewed version of this that you were going
I
over?
do. And mine is like 95% Pilsner malt and only like a quarter of a pound of Victory malt. And that's just to give it color. The Victory malt's not going to add nothing. It's not going to add. Because Victory malt has like a little bit of sweetness and it has like a biscuity kind of flavor to it, something like that. But like quarter pound, it's just for color. And then for hops, but what hops I would use Warrior for the bittering hops, and then the last 2 hour I would use half ounces of Haltar for like the last 10 minutes or so. Then another like half ounce or whatever I flame out, which basically flame out is where you literally turn the flame off of your propane tank and you just throw it in there and you let it sit for 5 minutes or so. Um, I think if I were to make this, I may actually change my thought process on the yeast. I may actually get a lager yeast, liquid one, and spend the extra money. Um, it's not a, it's only like a few dollars more than like the dry version of it. But I've done the dry yeast before, and it has a very strong sulfur smell,
Mhm.
and it doesn't smell very very pleasant. So maybe the liquid may not be as pungent. Um, But that clears up within like the first like 3 or 4 days. Like, it just kind of goes away, which is nice. But I guess that's just part of the lagering process. Um, but since it is a lager at the end of the day, you need some type of temper control. I don't have one myself, but if you do have one, you can probably do the temperature control around 50 degrees or 10 degrees Celsius. For myself, I would use my spunding valve like I did with my lager, and I can control it that way. I can control all the esters. Esters are like all flavors, which are kind of like fruits and stuff like that you may not want in your beer. Other than that, I mean, it's really simple beer. I mean, it's not hard at all. Like it would be almost as easy as a smash beer,
That's what I was
as
gonna
a
say
smash.
earlier.
Yeah,
Like it sounded like it was like a single malt, single
so,
hop.
single hop. Yeah, almost. I mean, I could probably not use Warrior and
Right.
just use Holotar all the way through. But I think the Warrior will give me just a little bit more spice that I kind of want. Um, like Saz is too much. Saz gives you more of a peppery spice. I don't want that. Oh, yeah, that's what I would brew myself.
Cool. Well, I think we've gone over, but it's I feel like that's it's been a fun. We talked very little about the beer, but we brought it back
Well,
in there. Then we we tried. So I just wanted to
Sorry,
say,
Kevin.
I wanted to say thanks for everybody that's tuned in and that's watched, and I've heard people that I didn't expect to like say like they saw it or whatever. Somebody that was friends with on Facebook. So I appreciate everything. And thanks for tuning in, and go have a pint with your pals.
Yeah. Make sure to drink responsibility. Drink
Like,
responsibility.
I want to drink responsibility.
Drink responsibly.
like,
Responsibility
comment,
is why I drink.
and if you really want, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. Until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Perfect.